Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's September the 14th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and I'm doing this a little early today. It's not quite 3 o'clock yet, but it's past the 2 o'clock hour, so we don't do much after that point anyway. But I have a commitment tonight that I've got to that I can't get out of, so I want to go ahead and do this early so it doesn't interfere, so that I don't get halfway through it and find out I don't have enough time or whatever. But you can see we've basically been in a trading range. We spent really from late, maybe 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock on in a downtrend. You can see this two-tiered channel, and even though I don't have it on there, there's a midline right through here. That looks about right there. So for most of the day, we've really been in a downtrend. But overall, I'm going to call this day a trading range. You can see that here's your overnight low and your overnight high. And we spent most of the day within that. We're outside of that now, but it looks like we're heading back up. So we're probably going to end up closing within that at some point. So that's what I saw. Of course, after 9:30, you wanted to really, we're in a tighter, this is like a midline right here on the trading range. So we spent a good bit just going flat. Anytime you see prices swinging above, notice how we're below the MA, above, below, above, below, above, below, above, below, above, below. That's a trading range. Same thing over here, above and below. So when you see that, you can trade that both ways. Of course, you got to get a price action set up. You don't just trade it blindly, but we do like to trade that both ways. And of course, coming down here, we've got more of a downward bias, but once we started going sideways, you got to buy these if you get a good setup. So um, anyway, let's back out, talk about the trades, and move on. I'll probably try to move through these pretty quickly today because I got to get out of here shortly. But when I came in, we were going sideways here, and really there was your lows were right across here. And generally, people ask me how I decide where I'll put this. I'll generally put it where you get the most touches and closes as well. So, you might could argue this one's down here, but really we bounce more times right across here than anywhere. So that's where I would be playing that. And you notice we're just going up and down, up and down, up and down. And when I came in, if I'd been here early enough, this would have been a nice setup. That's a little bit before 7 o'clock. And pull back first entry, pull back. There's a second entry long right there, but we just came off the high of this thing. So what do the odds tell us? We're probably going down to the other side. So you got to be careful about getting long here, even though that looked like a good long. And, if you draw your trend line, you'll see that's a little risky. There's that gap right there, so it's probably right through there. You can see how it gapped over it. I see that all the time. So I'd be leery going long there because we're probably going to get a break and a move down to test this low again. Actually, we keep going right on through. It turned out to be a nice trade. But notice what happens. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry, and it actually goes up and then goes out the other side here. So it's tempting to go short there, but this thing closes very neutral. So unless you were just automatically trading that, you need to wait. And then you get this bar. Again, it's a neutral bar. And so now we're kind of going sideways. So I'm a little leery of getting short in here until it's probably hard to see. Let me back out a little more. Notice how it ticks up there and turns down and gives you that huge bearish bar. This one moved really quickly, so you had to get your order in real quickly, and the bottom just fell out of it. I mean, it just takes off like a rocket right here. And it just goes right on through that support area. And, you don't know that it's going to do that, but that's why we sometimes hold runners, because we're hoping that it will. So if you've got enough room, there's way more than 4 ticks to get to these lows here. So A lot of times when you're in these tighter ranges, I won't hold any runners because you don't get many. But you can see, there were several opportunities to get runners here. You would have had a runner off that long. But this is back in the overnight, and uh, your volume's real thin, so I don't recommend trading those. But this was the first trade I saw. It turned out to be a beauty. And then, of course, it does bounce down here. Anytime you get a failed break lower, you want to try to fade that. I didn't fade this one because we're still inside this little channel working down, and that's the first break. So there's a good chance we're going to try to go lower. So I would wait on the reversal pattern. You probably could argue for this one to be green right here because there's enough room to get out before the EMA, and you probably got some shorts trapped. But I'd want to see a second attempt to go lower and then go up, and that didn't happen till here. And again, I made this one green, even though this is a short trap and it's somewhat of a reversal pattern. We do have a little trend line working up through there, and this was the first close outside of it. And this is a really big bar, so you got to go long right here near this high. So what you had to do here was most likely let it break higher and drop a limit order back in here. And you could have gotten filled maybe 2 ticks, it looks like, back into that bar before it bounced. And you could have used the stop, but it's real aggressive that way. I would want to get in with enough room to get out before here. It didn't matter, but you still need to follow that rule. And you come back, it bounces again. But of course, you've had a close outside, and you've got a new high now, double top. Really, you could have gone short here too. But again, it's right into the EMA right there, so there's a chance it could tick lower and then bounce one more time. So I think you're better off to wait on the failed second entry long, which comes right here, and then you get another big bearish bar. So I like going short right there. And then it pulls back and gives you a lower high with another big bearish bar. So I like, if you're not out yet, add on, and if you weren't in yet, get in right here. And this one drops on down and tests this low and makes a new low, and then we bounce. And this is what I'm always talking about, how a lot of times you catch the low of the day when you catch these breakouts. Here was the one in the morning. Of course, I wasn't here. This is 3 o'clock in the morning my time, so you're probably not going to be trading that. But when it failed, that would have been a nice run up. And if you catch this one, even if it only goes to the high, that's going to be, say, 8.5 points or so. But look what happens. It just keeps going, and you can get almost, it actually from 220 to, let's just say you got out right in here somewhere, 234 when it made the double top. So that's 14 points on one runner. So I love to try to catch these failed break lowers, and look at that, how bullish it is. Just go long right there, and it's off to the races. Notice you do get a failed second entry short here. This is a perfect reversal pattern. Look how it pushes right through. First entry short, pull back second entry short, bounces off that trend line, bullish bar. The only reason I made this one green is because there's a lot of resistance across there. It is a trap, so it's probably going to push through, but you're probably better off skipping that one and waiting and seeing if you get a breakout pullback long, which comes right here. Notice how it pulls back, test that trend line again. That's your breakout pullback long. You still got room to get out. Take that one. And but again, you could have entered here. It's just a little more aggressive. There's actually 2 attempts to go lower, but you got to get long right into this support that's held all day, all through the overnight. So you just can't get long right there, even though it would have worked. Now you've got to close outside a new high, and this is just a first entry long. This is really kind of congestive. So even though, again, you would have had a couple more that went higher, I think you got to skip them. But once you had your break and 2 legs up, you got to be looking for a failed breakout. So you're probably going to come back and test this. Well, now you got your close outside, 2 legs to a new high, and you got a big bearish bar. I like taking that one. And then it comes back, and then it gives you another one with a big bearish bar. So you got a double top. Now, the only reason I made this one green, this is borderline being red. but it's so close to the EMA that it may touch that and bounce again. And so I think you're better off to wait and see if you get something better. And of course you do. Of course, I drew this trend line off these lows right down through here. And so when it tried to go higher here, I just copied that and drug it over. And so when it turns down exactly where you would expect it to, and notice that's a new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. But this is a reversal pattern, and look how bearish that is. It actually bounced right where the support was, or resistance was. Now it looks like it's going to be support, and it just traps people and turns down. Just go short right there. And then it pulls back. This is a double top, so that's like a single high. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. But even better than that is this is a pull back to retest the breakout area. The former support, which is now acting as support again, or resistance. It's kind of acted as both, so it's like your support resistance split line, and it comes back and tests it, turns down. So I like going short there. At this point, you're looking for prices to go all the way to the lows. We just came off the highs. Even though we had a failed break, we're still going to look for prices to try to head to the lows. And look, we have to go sideways a good bit until we finally go on down to the lows again. And you can see prices have worked their way back up, testing the lows of the range again. And we may or may not get back in it. I don't know. But that's what you want to see happen. This one was tempting being that far away from the EMA, but that's the first close outside that channel. So wait. It goes back to the high, pulls back, makes a lower high, and gives you a bearish bar, and you're looking for a new low here. Nice move. And so now you got your close outside of this channel, move to a new low, and now you're headed back. So we're probably headed back up to test these highs again. Draw your trend line. You get a close outside here, a new high. This one's tempting, but we pushed back through there again, so it didn't hold on the resistance. So I'm a little leery about going short. This is not very bearish anyway. This is more of a bullish bar. This one's bearish, but it's right back into the EMA. So even though it would have worked, I don't think you can take it. And then it bounces right off the low again. Again, it's tempting to want to go long here, but that's more of a bearish bar. It is a second entry, and it is off the lows here, but you got a little trend line working down, and there's no close outside of it yet, and no new lows. So notice we try to come back, we make a higher low and bounce. I like going long right there. That's a fairly bearish bar or bullish bar. It didn't close quite on its high, but it's close enough, and so we're probably headed back up to the highs again. And again, you find your issue. And another thing, that confirmed that possible trend line working up. So I really thought we were going to have a trend working higher at this point. But instead, we just turned down right up here again. And at that point, you couldn't be too sure about the two-tiered channel. So you couldn't really trade this, even though if I'd have known for sure that was there, I would have tried to trade it. It was pretty obvious by the time you got to this bar, because look how many times we turned down off of it. But it's right there at that support resistance line, so you just got to be careful about it. And plus, you got a possible trend line working up, but look how it just shoots right through. And then we just kind of going sideways. But notice you got this working down. You get a close outside. Tried to go lower once, and then bounced. And the reason I gave this a green, that's a double test of this area right here. And really your support has moved up. So it is a double test. It is bouncing along a really strong support area. But it's just a little risky. It's not a very good signal bar. It's low risk because it's only a couple of ticks, it looks like there, maybe 3 ticks. Maybe 4 ticks actually. Let's just look, see. Yeah, that's too big. I mean, it looks pretty small right there, but 4 ticks is not really that small. But when it tries to go lower again and gives you a second entry long, I like taking that one. It doesn't go very far, but it gives you enough to work. And then it's, and I actually missed this trade right here. This should be a red one here. Notice that we pushed through. So this is like a breakout pullback short, but notice this high, pullback first entry long, pullback second entry long, and it turns down. So I like going short there. You may or may not have had that trend line. You could find it off these lows, these first few swings, and drag it over, and it would have worked. But I know not everybody's that skilled at trend lines yet, but you could have had that in there even before prices got here. Um, so, but anyway, that's a failed second entry long. It's breakout pullback short. We're looking for prices to come down here because they've come off the high. It took them a while to work through this level, but they eventually do, and there you go. And then we're working up again. And notice the new low, pullback first entry, pullback second entry. You can't take that second entry short because that's a very bullish bar. But when it ticks higher right there and turns back down, I like going short there. And again, we're looking for prices to come down here. So, and plus, I don't have it on there, but let me go ahead and draw it. You can see that little trend line working right up through there. As you close outside, move to a new high, and then you go short. And it's really more sideways than anything. So, but that turns out to be a nice move down. And then, of course, we bounce again. This is a failed break lower. This is really kind of a reversal pattern, or it is a reversal pattern. Notice you got a new low. First entry short, pullback second entry short. Big bullish bar right there. I went back and forth about whether this one should be green, but I'm probably going to take that in most cases because this is probably going to be a failed break lower, and we're probably going to go higher. And once it starts going sideways right here, you might have gotten, you might have got a little bit leery of this one and went ahead and took a tick or two or whatever it would give you. I mean, several times you could have gotten out with a tick there. It never would have stopped you out. But when it just keeps going sideways like that, sometimes the best thing to do is just exit, just in case. It does bounce higher here, but you're not going to go long out of that. Pulls back. It tests that again. But we just had to close outside of this trend line in a new high. So I'm leery of this one. And you might have even made the argument that there's a bigger pattern here, like so. And you've had to close outside the new high, so that's another reason to skip that one. But that gets you into the 2 o'clock hour. So, and again, we're just going back and forth above and below the EMA there. And again, if you look at them, if you went short there, you'd have had a good one. If you went long there, you'd have had a good one. If you went short there, you'd have had a good one. So you'd even caught a runner here probably. So still the right play when you're going sideways is to buy the lows and sell the highs. Obviously wait on a price action setup, but that's how you trade those. And I mean, it takes, the problem is to buy down here like this, it takes a lot of courage to be able to buy down here. And what happens is most people see it going down and they're waiting to sell, and they finally say, if it, the next time it tries to go higher and fails, I'm going short, and they're getting short at the very lows when they should be looking to buy down here. Same thing up here. It's hard to sell this up here, but the smart play is going to end up being a sell when you at these highs. And then when we get back down here, the smart play is usually going to be a buy down in here, and then back up here when we're going back and forth is a sell. Same thing here. You're better off to sell at these highs and buy at these lows and buy the breakouts. If you just bought that break lower, of course you didn't have a lot of evidence that this was a strong support here yet until maybe this one was made. So, but look what would have happened if you'd have bought any of these after that. This is the only one that would have failed. You could have bought several times across there and had a winner until it finally gave you a breakout pullback short. That one would have failed, but there were clues to look for that. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I'm done early today. I'm done before the market even closes. It's not quite 3:15 my time yet, which is when the market will close and reopen at 3:30 or whatever. But yeah, it was a good trading day. And I'm finally kind of back in the swing again. We had the data problems, which it wasn't even really obvious it was the data problem until several people started saying how much different my chart looks than theirs. And you hate when stuff like that happens because it can be dangerous. You can get burned trading bad data, and it's obvious that we had some bad data, uh, probably Monday and Tuesday. So um, I'm glad I didn't trade Monday, and I only took a couple trades Tuesday morning before I figured out there was a problem. They both worked out, but you may not always get that lucky. So um, yeah, if you didn't fix your data problem, look at yesterday's video. There's several links. For some reason, my link didn't work. I don't know what the deal is. YouTube is real picky about links. And I mean, that link worked for me, and I just copied it directly out of my browser and put it in there. But for whatever reason, it didn't work. So I appreciate some of the others of you stepping up and posting some new links. It seemed to have worked for everybody. So, but if you haven't if you trade Ninja Trader, there's some kind of issue with the rollover dates. So make sure you follow those links and fix your problem, or you may be trading with incorrect data. So, but yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. Nice trading day. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. And believe it or not, after tomorrow, we're wrapping up another week. Seemed like I was just getting back, and now this week's already over. So I don't know where the time is going, but regardless, I'm done for the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.